Now, Pat, your last competitive season for the club, South Pittsburgh, was 2015.
Yeah.
That's a big gap. Do you miss the rugby playing? Obviously, we will jump into how you're keeping busy, you're staying in the rugby region,
Sure.
But do you miss playing, Pat?
I definitely do miss playing. And someone else, I had a couple people ask me this in like two different settings just recently, and we kind of centered on, we think you always kind of have that in the background when the play. Like a former player asked me, and another referee asked me. Okay. So kind of two different backgrounds, but and it mostly comes out like if I'm refereeing a South Pitt game, that's when like the itch gets like the worst,
right?
To kind of come back because it's familiar faces, familiar friendships, and stuff like that. So I do definitely miss it. And like like maybe I'll still come out to a practice or something from like a referee point of view, or do mess around like touch sevens in the summer and stuff like that. But I like from that fall, I've never set like a minute on the pitch in a competitive game. So I remember after that fall, I took the spring off to kind of figure out what I was going to do. Kind of had a bad shoulder injury that fall and got me thinking about my next steps. Yeah, took the spring off and I started refereeing. Just loved it and never put the playing boots back on.
Perfect.
Miss it though. I just want to say the most fun I ever had playing rugby were the summers when you were in our sevens program. And we were really good, and I thought you led us well. And
thanks, man.
Yeah, man. And I that's some of my best memories.
No, I agree.
And Gator's wiping a tear.
Yeah,
that's definitely where I had some of my, if not all, like most fun memories with South Pitt was the seven stuff, because the success we had. I always joked that I would be the captain to surround myself with six studs, and we would. Yeah. I was just the guy running the show, but they were all doing the dirty work.
Well, you were so good at distributing, and I kind of inspired me to learn how to pass, especially with my left hand, because I was able to see what you were able to do, and it made me want to be able to do that.
Yeah, so. And obviously we're stroking your ego because you are the talent in the studio.
Yeah, I guess.
But when I've had conversations, and we've touched base on it before, and it's like, who is the South Pittsburgh Hooligans dream team that I've played alongside? Okay. And like over the podcast, we'll kind of discuss it, and I think maybe when Red was there, we both agreed John Francis as a fullback is like a must. Fantastic fullback. And then we also said scrummy was Shane Jordan. But you're bloody well up there for the fly half. And I agree, his distribution, phenomenal. And it was always, it was just a different experience playing with you. Because it was always like I was just running onto the ball at my max speed. And there was the ball in my arms.
And it's all about finding the space and using the pace. That rhymed way too well there. But it's a good way to think about it. So I think I maybe have a hard time getting in that first 15 dream team, but that for that first 7 dream team for sevens, I think I'd be in that one. I think I'd be first ballot. But the 15s team, I was always bumping around trying to find a spot, so I might have a harder time getting into that squad.
Well, you were a little bigger back then too,
and that is another.
That's true.
I have a question written down here. Your fitness, like you are one of the players. Derek spoke about it, where he fears almost leaving the rugby world because he doesn't really eat the healthiest, was the impression I got. Yeah. And that he's almost afraid he's doing so much exercise. If he takes the exercise out, he might, put on a few extra pounds. You've actually, not to say you've improved your body, but you look extremely fit. So fit, you could be a formidable South Pittsburgh hooligan player.
I'm thinking about dropping the Y line.
That was amazing when I came back and what I reffed the match before you guys played.
I think so.
Or either that or the Highlander women were playing and I was there or something, and when he said that.
You always say it?
Yeah, sure.
Pat, you're not that Pat no more.
Yeah. And he's a Vietnamese gentleman as well, isn't he?
And I was like, I probably hadn't seen him in like years, and I was like, oh, well, good to see you too. It was like kind of random. Yeah. So I'm definitely a much different referee shape than playing
and
shape.
What do you put that down to? Diet? Are you a fitter player? Definitely. Are you a fitter person now, or just a slimmer person?
Just running marathons and shit.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a little bit of everything. Towards the end of my career, I was playing in the front row at hooker, so I think I was tailoring my training and fitness more to that.
To your position.
I knew I definitely couldn't play front row, hooker, D3, D2 level, anything shaped like I am now. Yeah. So I think I was more in tune to that, and that's why I was that way, looked that way. And then now referee life, you kind of got to be that scrum half, but you got to be at every breakdown.
Okay.
So I definitely have incorporated more long distance running.
Okay. Cardio has improved.
To get a percent, I just ran a half marathon 2 days ago.
Nice.
In Richmond. We had a little trip down to Richmond for for a half marathon.
Yeah.
Fun little town. Yeah, so got into running half marathon, stuff like that. So it's
perfect.
Yeah, definitely tweaked it from my playing days to my referee days. Yeah.
Well, obviously, we'd love to have Patrick Feitt back on the team, wouldn't we? And we're trying to get the band back together.
We're trying to get the band.
We are.
Mark Salvador's back.
He's Canada didn't want him, Alabama didn't want him. He's come back to his
Pittsburgh.
where we love him here,
exactly.
back in the Berg.
Yeah. So, Matthew Gribowitz is kind of trying to do his thing for the club, trying to kind of bring in new faces, old faces. So,
I'm always welcome to.
And obviously,
I'm always welcome to come back and
the contract.
Like
the contract that you signed, you saw the back page, which was you've committed to play.
I signed a different one than
you did indeed. Okay, and then Patrick Ward. You've now become Patrick Ward. Fine, sorry. You've now become
many names here.
Yeah, exactly. You're a referee, and that's what we really want to touch base on.
Yeah,
and you're a phenomenal ref.
Thank you.
Just recently went off to ref a Division 2 game, correct?
Yes. Talking the Midwest Finals.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was actually, blessed enough to be able to go out to Chicago. I was given this assignment for the Midwest D2 Women's Final.
Brilliant.
So that was that's the league the Forge women play in.
Yep.
So the East representative was Cincinnati.
Nice.
The team that actually beat them in their playoff game. So some strong competition. They went up against Palmer College.
Yeah.
The chiropractic school. Mm-hmm. We're actually Roger's son.
Yeah.
AC Costello. Yeah. He was actually at the match. I
had
a chat with him. Yeah.
Nice.
Do you feel more pressure as a referee when you're in bigger games like that?
Yeah, I definitely do because, most refs were players before. So you kind of get those heightened matches. You get that feeling. I kind of get that same feel as a ref. More on the line for them, more on the line for me. Just to get it right,
Yeah.
I don't have VAR out there. I don't have a TMO to go up to the camera to make sure I get it right. So there's a little more pressure for sure. So
and that's why fitness is so key. Right?
Yeah, you can't make a call you can't see.
Yeah, you want to be up there.
You always want to be there, yeah.
Mm. And Pat, so that's probably the highlight of your reffing career, right? Being selected to ref a D2 game, traveling all the way up to Chicago. That's a phenomenal achievement.
Yeah, to date, that's definitely one of my assignments, if not the best, for sure.
Yeah, because you started reffing in 2016. So in 3 years, you kind of jumped to the highest level you could really be at.
Yeah, 3 years. This was my fourth fall reffing. Mm. So yeah, and 4 falls. That's Midwest. That's our regular season around here. That was an honor. It was great to go out there. Just being that experience. I know Derek talked about a little bit the facility out there. It's kind of like the Chicago version of the Harlequins.
Yeah.
They have 3 pitches. They're building a 4th right now. It's a great facility. It was a great day. We had a little chilly, but some great weather, and it was just I was able to see our matches overlapped a little bit. Ours in the Forge D2, so unfortunately, I only got to see the second half of theirs.
Okay.
It's just a great day of rugby, just top level Midwest finals. We never gotten there as a team, obviously.
Yeah.
I never been there as a spectator or any other capacity. So it was a lot of fun.
So how does refereeing work? Do you get like rankings or ratings? Like how do they determine like that? I'm glad for you, but how do they pick you? Like how do they pick who refs championship games? How do they determine who gets playoff games? Stuff like that.
Sure. So it's kind of a similar pathway, I guess you could say, as the playoffs for the teams. Not that there's playoffs referees, but mostly each league kind of has a referee society. Like your league, of course, was going to be the Ohio refs and the Allegheny refs. The Chicago League has Chicago refs. So like there's different pools of referee size. Like there's different different rugby unions. So you kind of get recommended to the Midwest Referee Society. So there's a whole referee society for the Midwest, just like there's a whole Midwest Rugby Union for the players. So there's kind of each union, each referee society has maybe they're asked for the recommendations or players they want to, referees that they want to progress or get more coaching, get more evaluation. So I was lucky enough to be recommended for that. Before this fall, I've done some of the qualifier 7s for the Midwest.
Okay.
I've been out to, they have, the closest one for us here is actually in the suburbs of Detroit.
Right.
So the past 2 summers I've went out there, and that's all those D1 teams, some D2 teams like the Cleveland program, one of the Chicago D2 teams has a qualifier side.
Yeah.
So most of the higher clubs, and that's a pathway to nationals. So the Sevens nationals, that's over the
summer.
So
who makes these recommendations? Are these like older refs, or are these coach? Because there's some people that might be highly ranked in the referee world, but a lot of the teams think he or she is kind of crappy.
Sure,
so it's like who makes these recommendations?
And it would have been it would be like the chairmans or who's ever in charge of like the different referee societies. So it would have been. Tom Barr before.
Yep.
Would be Mark Seaton now. Where Ian's gotten would have been definitely from Tom's time.
Okay, so Ian Seaton has gone all the way out to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
To do the Las Vegas Sevens.
Right. Yeah, he was. Yeah, you see that great picture of Carl now scoring the try, and it looks like he's jumping over Ian, and Ian's just kind of ducking out in the way. It's actually a pretty funny picture if no one's seen before. But yeah, so he's even a higher level than me. He's what they call the B panel.
Okay.
For referees, there's like an A panel, which is like your top level national referees, and there's the B panel, and he's on our local Midwest B panel, and then from there it's like kind of different grades of like C, like C1.
But you can get promoted.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, I don't want to go into much specifics, but it's like
you're pretty young for a referee.
Yeah, besides Ian. And maybe one other guy. I'm probably the youngest referee in the local Allegheny scene, and that always helps too, just from fitness, from a few different angles. But it's so your local area union would recommend you into the Midwest pool. They usually would start you out with something like one of those Sevens events. That's at least how it worked with me. I did the 2018 event in the Detroit area and one this past summer 2019. Which is just like the 7 tournaments we go to, but they're obviously much higher level. There's a full standing system like the World Series Sevens, and they have one in Chicago, one in Detroit. They kind of try to spread them out.
Nice.
So first, kind of got introduced to the Midwest scene there,
right?
And then this fall, it was kind of out of nowhere to me personally. Didn't really see it coming, and sometimes that's just when it happens, you're not ready for it. Happens. You just got to take the opportunities. Yeah. So that's something that's huge. Always having yourself out there, be available.
And it is great. If I'm racking off your resume, it's great to see your progression. Obviously, you've reffed us in games.
Yeah.
But then when it came down to the D3 playoff final, it was a 2-day event up in Akron.
Yeah.
You were up there. You were reffing.
Yeah, they brought in me and Ian.
That's creme de la creme.
Did that event.
That's top-notch reffing.
Event in Akron. So I'm not
no offense to the other refs, but I think you two and Snuggles, I think, are the top 3. And we
Dan Houlihan.
Yeah.
You have to say that, though. He's the ARU president. But he will cut our funding.
It was in the contract. I had to say it.
Yeah. He will cut our funding.
Yeah.
We get, obviously, when people sip, 90% of the SIP money goes to Top of the League podcast.
Right, it says like player fee, it says
exactly.
Midwest fee. No, it's Top of the League fee. Right?
Exactly.
Even our ref fees go there too. Yeah, when we SIP as a ref.
Yeah, exactly. It's improving every week, guys. Keep the checks. Keep
can we
coming
get more
in.
money to improve the studio at my house?
I'm sorry.
It's lost cause.
It's all coming in here.
Okay.
Now, I have a quick question for you, Pat.
Yeah.
You were talking about how you went off to Chicago and you reffed your D2 game, and then you only got to watch about half of the Forged D2 game.
Yeah.
Now, as a referee and an ex-rugby player, when you're watching a game, are you watching a game as a strictly spectator, enjoying the game, or is half of your brain saying, I'm almost more watching the referee than the actual game develop itself?
I try to do a little bit of both, and sometimes more of watching the referee, especially if they're a high-level referee than me. Because I can, learn the most from a ref like that. I think I can learn from any rugby match, any referee, to be honest. But if they're at a higher level than you, like Ian or the other referees at these Midwest finals, I was probably the lowest experienced, lowest ranked, if you want to call it that, out of the 6 finals. I was definitely probably bottom of the barrel there. So everyone else, every other match I got to see, I was trying to take notes. And these are other refs I'd seen at the 7s things in the summer, and just the man that ref the D1 final, he's like the top Midwest ref on the ladder. So definitely learn from people like that.
Is there a limit of how many games you can ref in a day? Because like, you know what I'm saying, if he's the best,
yeah,
would they try and get him to ref a couple in the game?